Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Rick Wallace here, dropping in. Just want to share with you briefly today. I don't plan on taking too much of your time, but I do hope that what I do share with you in this brief moment will inspire you, will challenge you, will drive you. Um, Part of what I do is try to help people get the most out of their lives, and we can name it what you want to name it, call it what you want to call it. Um, that's not what I want to focus on here, but in doing that, um, there are so many dynamics at play, and there are so many things that I see as a person uh, that challenges me when I see other people to be more understanding of where any one individual is in their life. And one side of me understands that time is an illusion, while the other part of me also understands that because we use time and give time place in this world, it becomes reality. So moving into the new year has significance, and how we move into new opportunities or restarts is extremely important. What I would first share with you is whatever you don't get done at the beginning of this year, because most people start things that they don't finish, um, and it ends up being a constant recycling of resolutions of what you're going to do. What I can tell you is from personal experience is that anything worth having, you're going to have to fight for it. Anything worth doing that requires more out of you than you have the current capacity to give is going to require you to be committed. Anything that is of substantial accomplishment is not going to be easy, and it's going to push you, and there are times that you're going to get knocked down. I shared earlier today on a Facebook post that I've been approached on more than one occasion, and basically asked, or the assessment have been made that it seems like I have everything, I have it all together, my life's just all together. And I don't really know what all together means. And I guess it's a relative phrase, a relative idea of what having it all together means. But, I hurt like anybody else. I can be disappointed like anybody else. I make mistakes like anybody else. I get knocked down like anybody else. I love hard like the next person. I am human. The only difference in me and what you see with most people that may give the impression that I have it all together is I refuse to wallow in my misery. I refuse to sit up and live out my hurts and my pains, consistently complaining about them. And what I know and what I teach is the thing you give the most energy and emphasis to, you give the power to. So no, I don't talk about my problems all the time. No, I don't throw them all out there. Do I have them? Yes. Have I made mistakes? A bunch of them. Have I failed? I fail more than the average person because I try more stuff. So, no, I'm not without failure, but I tell you what, while I failed into accomplishing things that many people will never accomplish simply because they don't try. When I failed forward. When I got knocked down, I got back up again and again. It's not about perfect. It's not about not having issues. It's not about not feeling or being disappointed or having things that bother you. It's simply by saying, I'm either going to allow the things that bother me to dominate my life, or I'm going to find a way to make sure I'm focused on what I want to become instead of where I'm at. And that will often give the impression, because I know where I'm at, but I also know who I am and where I'm going. And I also understand through experience that who I am is not going to always be reflected in where I'm at. Sometimes you just get knocked down. Sometimes you get knocked back. Sometimes you make a poor decision that it takes a while to get out of, whatever the situation is. Let me explain something to you. I don't personally wait for 2008. I mean, for the next year to set a resolution of what I'm going to do. I'm constantly evaluating myself. I'm constantly trying to find new ways to improve. I'm constantly reading. I'm constantly driving myself. I'm constantly looking for ways to get better because I know it's not what you want out of life. It's life that you get. It's what you become that you get. In order to have the things you want, you've got to become the person with the capacity to produce it. And that takes hard work. That takes training. That takes learning. That takes a willingness to change. It takes so many different things. And it takes, number one, a willingness to go the distance. And that's what I'm here for today. Because a lot of people are going to cross over into this illusion of time from 1 year to another, which is simply another day. But they're going to cross over into that illusion of time, and they're going to say, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. And yet you haven't made the commitment to becoming what it takes to be that. See, you haven't developed the rituals, you haven't developed the pattern. And other thing, one thing I can tell you in my studies, that everybody that consistently does something has discovered a pattern through which it is done. There's a pattern to success. There's a pattern to designing your destiny and putting forth and becoming. And the more you learn the pattern, the more you commit to practicing the different rituals and ultimately developing habits. And it's this: you are what you do habitually, meaning that you are the results of your habits. Your habits are the results of your rituals, the things you make yourself do for a long enough time that they become instinctive and automatic, that you don't even have to think about them anymore. When you look at your habits, you can talk all day about losing weight. You can talk all day about building a great marriage. You can talk all day about building a business. You can talk all day about all these things you want to do. But if you haven't developed the habits that produce it and you're not willing to stick with it, see, we got real short-term expectations, real short-term commitments. See, we've got a microwave culture that we operate in. If it doesn't happen in a certain amount of time, we move on to something else. We're constantly switching and changing, never finishing anything. I got stuff I'm still working on from 4 years ago. And the thing is, what I do that allows me to stay fixed is, number one, is I have a no quit mechanism inside of me. I refuse to quit. I refuse to relent. I refuse to lay down. I refuse to surrender. One of my mantras is no surrender, no retreat. The other is no excuses, no exceptions. And you look at it, did I get it done? No, I didn't get it done. That's just being honest. I didn't get it done. Well, I got to keep going until I get it done. Did I get it done? No, I got to keep going until I get it done. Did I make progress? No, I actually got knocked back. Well, I got to get up and I got to push and I got to go on until I get it done. And that's what happens when someone tells you that your first book will never be published, and then you look up and you are about to publish book number 20, when they tell you that you come from poverty, but you've been able to do and exceed things unbelievably, when you are now entering into a contract to start and launch your 48th company or business, and it's all of this, and it doesn't mean that I've got everything I want. I'm where I'm at. I am actually so far off of where I'm at right now, where I would like to be right now, that it's unreal. But the difference is I don't become discouraged at that. That's something that does discourage, because every day I wake up, and if I've made progress, I celebrate that progress. I notate what I should have done and what I haven't done, and I keep pushing. And I know that I eventually get there. When I started out with that first book, I didn't have 20 books in mind. I just had, I'm going to get this book published. I'm going to make sure that people who are struggling with absentee fatherhood, people who are women who have dealt with men who've left their progeny for them to raise, I dealt with all of that in that book. I laid it out. I put it all in there, and I was going to make sure that it was accessible to people. And that book is still available. And that was a while ago. And it wasn't, no, I never in my mind at that time was thinking 20 books. But then I realized sharing books is one way that I can put me out there, and I'm out there forever. As long as that book is in circulation, as long as they're out there, someone can be touched, someone can be helped, someone can be empowered. And then you look up years later, and here you are about to drop book number 20, and it will be a beast. I promise you that. But and that's just one area of my life, and it's that one thing. There was a time when I was sitting up and I was looking, I was going like, man, I screwed up at marriage, and I ain't gonna ever get married again. You know, it was like it was what, 17 years. And I'm like, man, but just instead of sitting up whining and complaining about not having a mate, not having a partner, I tried to become someone who knew how to love, someone who knew how to protect, someone who knew how to care. Am I perfect? Hell no. And I'll never be perfect. I'm human. There's going to always be a part of me that at times thinks of me. And that's not what marriage is made of. Marriage is not about me. Marriage is always about the other person, but that's not how we build it here. But hey, so no, I'm not perfect. And that's something that you have to be okay with. Not being complacent in it, but understanding that you got work to do. But here's the thing, and I'm gonna leave it, I'm gonna leave it at this, because I could literally go on all day about where we're at. This idea of just showing up on the first of a new year and being able to change and turn your life around actually becomes, after a while, the very mechanism that forms your expectations of failure. How many years do you think you can go through and say, I'm going to lose weight, work out in the gym, and drive us people who actually spend time in the gym crazy because we can't get to a machine, because all you guys are there that's never there, that show up until the end of February, and we got to wait till the gym clears out before we can get back to our normal routine. But how many years are you going to do that and then quit before you start to tell yourself subconsciously that you're not going to do it anyway? So now you're out there just playing around with it because you feel you have to. You have to say, I'm going to do it, because you know you need to do it. And then, but you're expecting failure. And God, the universe, life is only going to meet you at the level of your expectations. When you set your expectations to fail, you're going to fail. When you expect that you're not going to get what you're after, you won't get it. I don't care what you do, how hard you push initially, it's going to come to a point where you will find a way to sabotage your own efforts, because you have to get the results you're expecting. That's life. That's the way it works. That's the simplified version. Go into this new time with an understanding of what's needed and a commitment to dedicating yourself to evolving into, through a ritualized practice of known, proven behaviors that produce it. You know, instead of sitting up saying, this is what I want, sit up and know with great clarity what you want, but also take the time to learn the patterns, the behaviors. What have people who are trying to accomplish this, what have they done that has worked consistently, no matter who's tried it? Okay, so if I get up in the morning and I do this, and I'm going to tell you, how you start your day is going to have a massive impact on how your day goes and how you end your day. And so start your day out right. I'm not going to get off into selling sovereignty, and so much goes on with most people when they start their day. But start your day with the first part of your day setting your state. I mean, just literally sitting up and saying, I'm not going to carry anything negative into this day, because I'm going to meet enough negativity just with life being around. I'm going to take on a positive mindset, because there's too much going on out there for me to enter into the day negative and expect positivity to come out of it. So what am I getting at? It's going to take more than a New Year's resolution. It's going to take more than a New Year's resolution. I am going to enter into this new phase, this new opportunity, whatever you want to call it, New Year, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to enter into it sharing some ways that you can work on changing you. The thing is, you've got to believe in you regardless. If you don't believe in you, if you don't have enough confidence in yourself, enough belief in what's possible in your life, you're going to be tossed to and fro and tossed about by the opinions and expectations and definitions of other people, defining you and determining and saying what you're worth and what you're going to do and what you're not going to do and what you're capable of. You've got to define with great clarity who you are in your own mind at all levels, consciously, subconsciously, and determine that that's who you are and that you're becoming better at all costs. You're going to become better. And then you walk out with that confidence, because I guarantee you it's going to be somebody out there that's going to try to knock you down. Somebody's out there going to think lowly of you. Somebody that's out there is going to talk poorly about you. Somebody's out there is going to try to convince you that what you're aspiring to is unattainable. Somebody out there is going to come at you in the wrong way. And if you are not truly connected and identified with who you are, their definition of you, their random opinion of who you are, how they think about what you're capable of is going to impact you. So, and finally, groom your circle. Check the periphery, your periphery. Look in your periphery, your circle, and determine who's there for you, who's there just for the ride, and who's there to actually pour into you, encourage you, and support where you're going. Who's there to provide counsel? Who's there to say, hey, I'm with you? Who's there to ride and go along with you? Your circle. I mean, I was sharing this with my wife the other day, that we are the sum total, or the average. We are the sum total of the average of the top 5 to 10 people we spend the most time around. And there's so many different reasons why that's true, but we've got to be very careful who we allow into our periphery, who we allow to influence how we think, who we allow to influence our behavior, our rituals, our habits, because you will assimilate into behaviors that you are consistently exposed to. Find somebody that's doing what you're doing at a high level and connect with them. It's so important. With that being said, man, I'm going to wish you guys the best. I'm going to do the best I can to share with you guys in the upcoming year ways that you can really, truly, powerfully impact your life. But I will tell you, like I shared earlier, you know, people get the illusion that, you know, I'm either a person who has everything all together or pretends to have everything all together. And the truth of the matter is, I simply don't focus on the negative. Those who have followed me for any time, or those who know me personally, know my life, know that I'm not perfect, know that I've made mistakes, know that I've been knocked down, but they also know that I've gotten up. They also know that when the bell rings, I answer the bell. They also know that when they call me, I'm going to show up. They also know that I'm the one person they can come to that's going to encourage them, no matter how outlandish their dream or their vision is. I'm the one person, if you tell me you're going to do it, I'm going to tell you, I believe in you. You can do it. And you're never going to get anything negative from me. I'm never going to try to talk you off of the ledge of jumping into greatness. That's not who I am. I believe that everybody has potential to do exceptional and extraordinary things, and I encourage people to go for it. I tell you, it's going to be a challenge. I tell you that you're going to have difficult moments. You're going to have people that you really care about can't feel you, and you got to be okay with that. All of it is just a part of growing. But like I said, nah, I'm not perfect. And, you know, it's just that I don't focus on the negative. I acknowledge it. I'm not in denial. I acknowledge it. I know it's there. But I also know by my expertise, by my experience, by what I literally do, that if I focus on that, if that's, man, this is what's going on right now. This is what's going on right now. This is what's going on right now. Guess what? I'm consistently feeding the most powerful part of my brain, my non-conscious brain, my subconscious mind, information that can only hurt me. See, the conscious brain functions in the past and the future. I'm gonna say this and I'm gone. The conscious brain functions in the past and the future. So it literally recognizes time. So it knows what has already happened and it knows what will probably or what is expected to happen. It's not functioning on the present because there is no present in the conscious mind. You're either dealing with the moment that just happened, which is now the past. I don't care if it was a second ago. It just passed and it's processing that. Or it's processing the probabilities of what's coming in front of it. It's never dealing with the present. With the subconscious and the subconscious mind and the non-conscious brain, everything is in the present, whether it's in the past or it's in the future. So when you perceive it and you give it energy, if you think about that point in time in life when you failed over and over again, it's a reality to your non-conscious brain and your subconscious mind. It is literally seeing it as now. It's seeing you as a failure, not what you could be. But if you stop and you focus on the future of how you see yourself, what you expect out of yourself, what you're demanding out of yourself, not how you see yourself now, based on what you did yesterday, day before, and all that stuff, which is actually the past, but what you expect from yourself. It becomes the now reality of your non-conscious brain. In other words, because your non-conscious brain sees everything as now, you're living in the future. You're envisioning yourself where most people are looking at you and can't see you at. But your brain recognizes it and it takes it. It cannot determine what's imagination and what's real. It just knows what you're focusing on and what you're giving your thoughts to. That's why you have to arrest negative thoughts. That's why you have to move them out of your life, get rid of them. Why? Because your non-conscious brain, which processes over 400 billion bits of information in comparison to 2,000 bits of information of your conscious brain, is extremely more powerful. It controls the behaviors of your rational thoughts. Your rational thoughts come from your conscious mind. It tells you what you want, how you want it, what your goals are, how you think you're going to get there. But it tells your non-conscious brain what your goals are. Your non-conscious brain is the one that produces all the behaviors that get you there. Now, but if you're sending a message to your non-conscious brain that you're not that person and you can't do it, your non-conscious brain is going to go find out all the stuff that needs to be there to support that idea and to make you feel comfortable in that state. That's how you get stuck. Look, I could talk all day about this. The bottom line is there are no perfect people. Nobody has all the answers, but you do have successful people and you have people who have yet to experience success consistently. And it's real simple. You've got to change your rituals so that you can change your habitual activity, so you can change your behavior, so you can change your results. That's the chain of operation, function, and accomplishment. You change your rituals, meaning that I don't even have to believe it. I can be doing something ritually, waking up every morning and doing it. And I don't even have to believe it, but if I do it long enough, it becomes habit and it becomes a part of the process. And before you know it, I'm doing it without ever thinking about it. And then the belief catches up. Because why? If I'm doing it, whether I like it or believe it or not, if I'm doing it, it's producing a certain result because that behavior produces that result. Well, guess what happens? Eventually, the belief catches up to it. So you don't have to wait until you believe something. You make yourself believe it by saying, this is what I'm going to do. And then you force yourself to do it until the belief catches up. That's it. I've shared enough. Look, I love you guys. I don't care who you are. There's so much out there to do. There's so much out there to have. And wake up every morning and go out and get it. Believe in yourself before anybody will ever really truly believe in you. You got to believe in yourself in a level that when you walk in the room, they feel it. Believe in yourself at that level. Take on that. Take on a level of belief in yourself that when you walk in the room, the energy you emit makes people want to come near you. I had that experience yesterday. Those who don't know me, I smoke cigars. And, you know, occasionally my wife, who is a real estate agent and, you know, works um, as an administrator, assistant to an actual ex-golf pro in Houston. I'm not going to get off into the names and everything, but there are times when she's tied up, and you know that means I've got free time if you know if it's one of those days where I'm looking to spend time with her, whatever. And so normally I try to schedule my me time around time that I can't be with her. And so when she's at, you know, doing something in real estate or doing something like that, I ease my way over to, you know, she also goes and visits and helps young girls that are in the juvenile system. And when she's doing that, I'm like, all right, I'm going to the cigarette shop. And I get there and all these guys. And I could be sitting there and I get there and I'm this person, anybody who knows me knows this. I talk a lot in my profession when I'm lecturing, when I'm speaking, when I'm counseling. But a lot of times I just want to sit and be quiet. You know, I'll ride in my car with the radio off for days if somebody doesn't get in and turn it on. I just like quiet. And so sometimes I'll get there at a time when nobody's there. And then as people start to come in, I'll kind of squeeze into my little space and hope no one says something, but I be damned. Every time, here they come, hey, guy, what's going on, man? And they want to get me to talking. And the way it all started, one day I'm sitting there and the guy said, man, you know, what is it you do? Because, you know, you got this laid back, calm demeanor that just settles the room when you walk in. What is it you do? And that's how it started. You know, hey, man, this is what I do. I got a lot going on, but when you break it down, this is what I do. I come into people's lives and I feel space that says you can. That's my goal in life, is to walk into people's lives and tell them you can, and then provide them with the tools necessary for them to do it. But if the first thing is just saying you can, some people need to hear it. And so that, you know, I looked up and it was people moving in the lounge in the cigar shop. Well, you know, we're chilling, smoking, watching TV. The college football was on yesterday. We're watching TV, and guys send them saying, man, you mind if I squeeze in that seat over there? I got to get over here. And that happens a lot with me. I get people who approach me, and a lot of times they're not, you know, people who look like me. They're people of other cultures, other races, other backgrounds. And they'll come up to me and say, I don't know what it is, but I just needed to stop by and speak to you. And then a conversation pops off, and then they find out why. And that is how life happens in every area. It's the energy you emit that is going to determine whether or not you are attracting something. Remember something. Everything on this planet is energy. Everything on this planet is energy. Everything. The pencil laying on your desk, the camera you're taking pictures with, the computer keyboard, all of it is subatomic energy brought together in different different forms. You know, whatever, depending on the density, the speed and the movement of the neurons and protons and electrons in the atom that create the density. It's going to change, whether it's liquid, whether it's hard. It's all energy. The earth, the universe, it's all energy. And the wonderful thing that I learned is energy responds to energy. Like energy attracts like energy. If you're down, you tend to pull on people who are down. You only attract things that support that level. You operate on different frequencies that create different vibrations that draw different things to you. And you get the greatest things when you're able to raise your vibration, raise your frequency, and function on that way. We all have these moments of ups and downs. It's about finding a way to train yourself to stay up more than you come down. There are just too many things in this world that you care about. The only way that, and I can tell you this, one thing that I did do is to keep me from having these emotional fluctuations all the time that people experience that impact their frequency, is I determined those things very early on that I would give that type of power to. And, you know, I love my kids, but my adult kids don't have the same influence on my emotional center as my younger kids who still depend on me to provide for them. Why? And so I don't care what they say, you know, what they do. To a certain extent, I love my kids and I do everything I can to be there for them. But once you're an adult, You make your own decisions. And so I don't ride your opinion of where I'm at because I'm not doing something you don't want to do. And I try to present to my younger kids who I am in a way that makes them okay with trusting me with their life and their future, which is completely, totally different, because at some point they're going to grow up and they're going to do whatever it is they want to do, no matter what daddy thinks. So I'm never going to put all of that in there. Now, the one person that has absolute access to my emotional center, and it's one person, and that's my wife, has the most capacity to shake me up. Why? Because the way I need to love her requires me to be exposed. But I just decided I'm not going to expose myself emotionally to each and everything that happens in this world. People are not going to like me. I better get used to it. People are going to talk about me. I better get used to it. People are going to tell me I'm going to fail. I better get used to it. People are going to look at me and see the tattoos and the way I dress and assume I'm a thug and I'm dumb. I better get used to it and learn how to respond to it, not become offended by it, but challenge it. I've got to learn all these different ways of functioning and acting and seeing in order to be this. So I minimized those things that have the power to impact me and connect and access my emotional center. So what that means is I rarely respond to things from an emotional place. It's always logical. Why? Because while I have emotions, while I use my emotions, while I know how to function in my emotions, the vast majority of the time, I don't want to make my decisions through my emotions. I don't want to go off and do something that I look up and regret, because the times that I've done it, it has not turned out well. It's just not your emotions are not your decision-making mechanisms or faculties. You got to be able to process things properly. But like I said, that's what I did. I said, okay, my kids, my family, all of them have a certain access, but based on a certain thing. I've only given unlimited access to the one person I have to give unlimited love to, and that's my wife. And does that mean that there are times where when we're not on the same page, there can be things said or things done that doesn't feel good? Yeah. But see, that's when I have to step back and evaluate things from a bigger picture. And understand that who I have and why I have them, and say, okay, we'll get through it, and we keep moving. But other than that, I don't give a lot of weight and gravity to what other people think about me. And so that takes away a whole lot of emotion, because we live in a world where everybody's caught up on what somebody else thinks. I could care less. I'm going to give you who I am, the way I am, and the good and the bad and ugly. And like my real personal stuff is none of your damn business anyway. And so people get telling all your business and transparency confused. Transparency is sitting up showing that I'm not perfect, that I suffer in this area. For instance, my wife is unbelievable at this. A guy by the name of Craig Samuels, who is also on Facebook, is his book is unbelievable in being transparent. And my wife's book, Ghetto's Forgotten Daughters, is also very good at being transparent. And they have this unbelievable ability to sit up and show their vulnerability and where they come from and what they've been through. And they show this in a way that it makes people understand, that in a way that allows them to relate and then see, okay, I started here, but that's not where I'm at now. I used to be like this, but that's not where I'm at now. I go through these moments, but that's not who I am all the time, whatever the situation is. And then they show you, I came from here and I'm here now. That shows that while you are going through this moment now, you're not stuck there. You can come out of that moment and be anything you want to be. So that transparency is not telling everybody every last bit of your business that's going on a daily basis, so they know when you're up, when you're down, because you got some people around you that are feeding on your misery. You literally have some people around you right now that are on your social media platforms, that are hanging out in places you go chill at when you're out there. All of those different things, they're hanging out there so they can feed on your misery. They're waiting on you to say something is wrong so they can just pounce on it. Why? Because it's going to make them feel better about themselves. I don't share a whole bunch of what's going on. I tell you, you know, every day I wake up, I ain't feeling it, but I find a way to put myself in state because I have to perform. Life is not going to look at me and ask me, well, you're having a rough day today. You want the day off? You want me to kind of chill? Life, life will take you and catch you at your worst moment and kick the crap out of you. So since life is not going to give me a break, I can't take one. I'm going to sit up and say, you know what? Matter of fact, the worse I feel when I wake up, the more determined I'm going to be successful. The more I feel I'm facing, the more I'm going to get up and try to be better today. The more I feel like I'm falling back or I'm not where I need to be, the harder I'm going to push today. It's not that I wake up every day and I'm just on it. I just wake up every day and put myself on it. It's just that simple. Yeah, I go through things. Yeah, I feel bad. Yeah, I got all that stuff going on. I'm still recovering physically from what happened a little over a year ago. I don't even talk about it. A lot of stuff, I don't even tell my wife about what's happening to me physically. I just refuse to complain. If I don't feel like it's life-threatening, I sit up there and I just get through it. It is what it is. But, you know, I'm not going to give power to something to the point to where now I'm wrestling with it for the rest of the day. And I encourage you to use that same mindset. Acknowledge what's wrong and then set it aside and start focusing on what you want. Start focusing on what's possible. Start focusing on those things that you know will place you in a better position. Give your attention and energy to the things that will lift you, empower you. Stop giving yourself that. I mean, it's always going to be something you can complain about. Always. It's just whether you're going to identify and find that stuff. I identify and find the stuff that's worth fighting for, standing for, looking for, working for, pushing for, and striving for. That's the difference between people who are successful and those who are not. People who are successful focus on the things we're striving for. The people who are not successful focus on the thing they want to complain about. And you can complain all day long, and I guarantee you, you'll look up and the very thing you're complaining about is still there a year from now. You're overweight, still overweight. You're struggling financially, still struggling financially, 15 years. Can't stand your boss, still working for him, 20 years. And complaining. Talked about that with my wife too, about somebody that we both, well, she knows that I'm aware of because she shares it. And after a point, you're not even really complaining about where you're at. You just trained yourself to complain. The things we do that work against us, and we look up and we've literally given our entire life to that type of behavior. You're going to have bad moments. You're going to have things that don't go your way. You're going to have them days you do things that you're not proud of. You're going to have all that stuff. That's life. You want to wallow in it, or you want to process it and say, I got to do better next time, and then get up, dust yourself off, and move forward. It's up to you. But it can't be something you just look at the end of every year. Every day you wake up is an opportunity that has 24 segments of time, that has another 60 segments of time with 60 more segments locked into that. And you can break that down into seconds and say that 86,400 seconds in a day. In your sleep time, your rest time, your study time, your work time, it's all got to be incorporated in that. And if you're sitting up and you're now in March and you know that you have a problem with your weight, you're in March and you know you have a problem with your finances, you're in March, you know you have a problem with your marriage, you're in March and you know you're struggling in the area of parenting and educating your kids, and you're sitting up thinking you can just sit up and coast the rest of the year out until you get to the end of the year and then make a resolution you're going to fix it all. No, you've passed up all 365 freaking opportunities to change. And you think you're going to get here now and all of a sudden something's going to be different. No. Whatever time and place that you realize something needs to be different, you start the process of change then. Because it is a process. It's not magic. It's a process, but it's possible. Hmm. You know, when I started this journey, I never knew that I would learn as much as I've learned about human behavior, human performance, and life in general. And I'm still learning. Uh, and I'm excited, you know, about what the future holds. And, you know, if you're not excited, you need to really step back and evaluate what's going on, because your design is so exceptional that you should be excited about what's coming. You shouldn't be fearful. You shouldn't be anxious. You shouldn't be worried. You should be excited, because the very nature of your design demands greatness, but you have to access that potential and activate it. With that being said, I'm going to check out of here. I'm pretty sure it's something I need to be doing that I ain't doing, because I'm on here talking to y'all. But it wasn't meant to be this long, but as usual, here I am talking up a storm. Look, guys, at the end of the day, how your life ends up is going to be you. It's not going to be the fault of the person who broke your heart when you were 16. It's not going to be the person who molested you when you were 8. It's not going to be the person who procreated with you and created children and left you with 4, 5, 6 kids to raise. It's not going to be the boss that doesn't recognize your potential and won't give you a raise, won't give you a better position in the company. It's not going to be any of those people that's going to be the cause of how this life ends for you, and your destiny of not achieving is going to rest solely on your shoulders. It's going to be your responsibility to look at your life, determine what you want out of it, and decide that you're willing to go the distance to have it. Like I told you, when I first started this, there are things I started working on 4 years ago that I'm still working on, that I thought I would have finished by now. And it's easy to sit up and say, well, it's just not working. No, I have never gotten a point in life where something I set out to do didn't happen. Now, it never happens really with me when I set out to do it, because I don't never set marginal goals. I set goals that are intimidating, that when I wake up and look at it, I'm like, what the hell was I thinking about? Then I get to it and I break it down into little pieces, and I work those little pieces a little bit at a time until I just chew away at it, chop away at it, chop away. I'm going to keep chopping till the tree falls. And there's no option. There's no quit. There's no excuses. There's no exceptions. There's no surrender. There's no retreat. There's no quitting. So I'm going to keep chopping till the tree falls. And that's what you get when you see me, a person that's still chopping. See me how you want to see me, define me how you want to define me, say what you want to. But at the end of the day, I'm a person that's still chopping. A person that will not accept defeat. Have an awesome day, man. Y'all guys really, really, truly enjoy yourself. Get out there, man, and look at what's in front of you, and understand that the unbelievable design that rests with you in totality, in your mind, in your brain, in your physical DNA, in your spiritual and emotional DNA, inside of that is greatness, and it demands greatness. And the only way that you don't get greatness is if you refuse to go in and access that potential, activate that potential, and put it to use. If you decide that I am going in and I'm going to access all of this that is within me, and I'm going to produce greatness, I'm going to make an impact, I'm going to help people change their lives, I'm going to speak positivity and truth to power. When you make up in your mind that that's what you're going to do, there's not a damn thing in this world, not one person that can stop you. The very definition of destiny is the more that you try to stop me, the more you ensure that it happens. The struggle is not there to destroy you, it's there to elevate you. With that being said, I'm going to check out of here. As I always say, I'm going to die on E. Simply put, dying on E means that I'm not going to leave any part of my potential untapped. I'm going to burn every bit of it and leave it on the battlefield as my legacy. And I dare you to do the same thing. Peace. I'm out. Oh, Mitchell Coleman. All right, Mitchell wants me to say that destiny thing. Real simple. I actually got this off. I can't claim it. I got this off of the movie Deja Vu. where the guy's sitting there talking to Denzel Washington, and Denzel has gone back in time, and the guy sitting across the table from him, he says, you can't stop it. It's going to happen. And he says, I can't stop. He says, no, you can't. He says, do you know the definition of destiny? And he says, what is it? He said, the more that you try to stop it, you only ensure that it happens. So I'm like, well, hey, works for me. I mean, it's the most simplest thing. When something is destined to happen, destiny, ain't nothing nobody can do about it but the person who's destined. The only person that can stop it is the person who's destined, and they can only stop it by quitting. Have an awesome day, yo, guys. I'm out. Peace.